I want to make sure that, before we start, that we're actually going to get the microphone this time, and it's not just like, we don't have it sitting here. You can never find it.
No, you can never find. What color is it?
Oh my goodness. Here, old man. Let me show you how to use an internet machine.
Oh, there we go.
It's on the screen.
On Facebook. It was
This is ridiculous.
All right.
I know.
Okay. Let's go.
So go to live, tap on that thing, and then just do this.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Hold on. Let's see. Okay, it's working. Okay, so that's good. So let's just since I didn't bring the tripod, let's just do this week.
Oh, you didn't bring the microphone stand?
Yeah, the microphone stand. But it's okay because this is going to be okay. So, Mr. Case.
We could just prop it up on.
So,
something.
Mr. Case, tell me about your new laptop that you just got.
We could prop it up on something.
That wasn't the question. Are you trying to divert?
Well, I have this fine new. I got a new Mac.
New MacBook. Okay, well then, let me see.
I don't want to show I don't need to show my porn.
Oh, it's very lovely. I see.
But I enjoy so when someone kidnaps me to get my secret Swiss bank account, they're going to have to cut my finger off in order to do this thing, because you need the fingerprint.
Yeah, and so you're happy with it, I see, right?
Oh yeah, it's good.
Very good.
What do you want for $1,500?
I don't know. I was just.
It's more than I paid for my first car.
Well, yeah, but that was because of the Model T, and back then it was only like
my first car
Henry
cost.
Ford had made it affordable for the average man.
And I had a choice between black and black. I had a choice of any color I wanted as long as it was black. My first car was $2,000. I bought it here.
Really?
Yeah, $2,000 for my first car.
Was it German?
No, it was Japanese.
Well,
but you knew it was someone we were fighting in the war. So you were there. You knew it was an Axis power.
That's right. Let's see. What has happened? It's really humid.
Yes, this new humidity in the last 10 years, where it's humid, where it's never been before.
I've got all these fans on, and it's just not as effective.
You don't have air conditioning?
No, I don't.
Oh,
the building was made in the 60s.
You could get one and put it in the window and plug it in.
I've thought about that, but those are, in the summertime, people say that those things take up about half of the power bill. I understand, but I don't want to double my power bill.
But also, the modern ones are very efficient. They're very quick. They use low electricity, and you turn them on for 10 minutes. And
I understand. I can do all of that. And I also don't want more crap in my life.
Well, I have central air conditioning, but it hasn't been on in a long time, and it's obviously cool in here. It goes on, it cools it.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Oh,
and the other thing is that you only need it for 2 weeks a year.
Well, it used to be you only need it for 2 weeks a year.
Well, I only need it
I bet those days are gone.
This is going to be gone in a week from now.
Certainly by the end of November, it will have cooled off.
Yeah, it's going to cool off soon, I'm sure.
But after global warming, there used to be 2 nights you couldn't sleep in the summer. Then there were 10 nights, and now there's all summer you can't sleep.
Yeah,
growing up, you couldn't wear shorts at night; it would be too cold. Now it's 90.
Yeah, it was pretty warm. There's a trick that they use in Africa where they put a wet sheet on top of them. These are people who don't have electricity.
Yeah.
So I tried that, and it worked really well. So a wet T-shirt on top or something like that. But
and you got.
Yeah. Because it's about cooling the body.
And when you woke up.
Well, no. It just helped cool me down a bit.
But I think if you get an efficient air conditioner and you put it in the window, I know you don't want to buy more crap. They're not that expensive. It'll cool off your bedroom. You're only going to want to cool your bedroom.
I might think about it.
You run it for 10 minutes a day.
I saw another thing that I might do, which was there's a DIY system that looked pretty interesting. It was you can use a water pump that people use there for fish tanks.
Yeah.
Then you can get some cheap sort of brass pipes, and then you can use let's say your toilet tank for a water reservoir, and then you circle the brass pipes like around a fan.
A swamp cooler.
Yeah, swamp cooler. Yeah,
it's not that efficient.
It's not. Yeah.
Because most of what air conditioning does is take out the humidity. Even if you think there's no humidity, that's why.
Oh, there's a lot of humidity though.
That's why they all drip, and that's what the real discomfort is. It's soaking out, puts a hot air, and then it removes the moisture from the air.
I mean, I'll think about it
by condensation.
Yeah,
it drips.
I'll think about it. I just don't want to. I just want to have more shit.
It's not. Oh, there's a difference. That's like putting a swamp cooler is like putting a bowl of ice with a fan next to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's technically cooling the air, but it's not going to make it much more comfortable.
Well, we'll see. If this thing goes on for another week or so, I'll think about it. I could always just go to my office. That's cool, but that's a drive. Let's see. So this week, just about an hour and a half ago, something happened, and I think that it's something that I can sort of. There's some. I think I left it in the car. I need to go get it, but it's some lesson that I think I need to learn. It's some kind of really sort of deep personal thing that I think really sort of made manifest, and I should work through. It's kind of like Aesop's fables in that they're not about the animals, right? They're about like it's a fable, right?
Yeah.
And so this is much like that. So I was outside of my apartment for the past few days. There's been somebody had thrown out a computer monitor, and I was like, I could probably repair that, sell it for like $15-20. So I brought it in. It had been dusty, and I saw it like a few days in a row. I said, might as well. And then I plugged it in, and like it kind of still worked, and like the backlight was working, and then I saw some vertical and horizontal lines, but the screen wasn't cracked. And I was like, I know what this is. All I need to do is I need to get the lid off of it, and then go on the back. And what it is there's a the OSD cable, which is the cable between like this sort of the logic board and screen. It needed some cleaning. Like that's what that usually is. Is that there's a bad connector right there. Yeah. So I did some alcohol swabs and cleaned it out, and then sure enough it started to work, right? And I said, this is great. So let me just sort of move this thing around and see if I can. And then all of a sudden it stopped.
Oh.
Right. And then I realized that I had done something that I knew was possible, and I knew I should have taken a precaution against it, and I knew it was easy, but for some reason I didn't do it. And I continued working. At that time, I said, I probably should have protected against that issue. Whatever, I bet you it still works. Let me just continue to work with this. And I, instead of saying, okay, now I'm going to protect against the issue again, right, and do that, I still didn't do it.
Oh.
And I continued working with it. And then one of the two circuit boards ended up, which was the one I was working on, falling on top of the other one or something like that, and pop, right, and everything like that, and it all, and it ruined it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? What did I just do? And I was like, I was clearly motivated enough to pick it up off the street, bring it into home, to test it, to identify like what's wrong with it, to very carefully take it apart, to inspect it, to do all those things like that. And I knew that this was going to happen. I know exactly this was going to happen. But for some, it's because what I needed to do was the power board didn't have any protection on top of it, and so if the sort of the logic board had touched it in the wrong way, it would have blown it, right? Yeah. And so you need to put like a piece of cardboard on it or something stupid simple, right? And so this is like 30 seconds of effort.
Yeah.
Or like a notebook, which I had like right there. Like if I had done it right, it would have been like that. Like that's the effort. That's it. And it's not like oh, it's like I was like, oh, that's right. It's more like I kind of. No, it's not like it'll be fine. Not at all. That's even worse. No, it's not. It's more like, I don't know, like you're about to cook something, and then you're like, if I like leave the house right now, this will catch on fire. Oh, all right, let me just leave the house. And it's like, and you know exactly what's going to happen, but for whatever reason, like you still do it, and it wasn't work. And so I'm like, and the reason that's like an Aesop's fable or something, because this is again a $20 or $15 little screen thing. It doesn't matter. But I decided to spend the half an hour, and I knew what I was doing, and I had it fixed. And I was thinking to myself, like, is this kind of symbolic of my life in general? And I think it is.
It was self-destructive. It wasn't simply better safe than sorry. It was just like,
I don't think there's a notion of self-destructive. I think that what it is that part of it might be due to when people are talking about, hey, Chris, it's really cool, your little podcast thing, let's do it. And I was like, okay, cool. There's this thing. And I'd like call you up and say, hey, Larry, I'm going to do it with another person for this week. Yeah. And then they're always like, I'm not too sure I want to do it. Or like 5 people, right? Yeah. They had the intention, but then they flaked. And you're the only person that comes through, right? Yeah. And so, but that's normal, right? It's people, they like the dreams, but they don't want to actualize it into a reality, so they don't take the action because they always want it to be like a future prospect. They don't want to ever deal with it as a reality. They only want to deal with it as an abstract. That's a problem that a lot of people deal with. But I don't think I've got that one. And then there's another one where people are like depressed and they're not passionate and not driven to do stuff. I don't have that one either. But there's something else here where like, I don't have the full sort of like emotional commitment to the thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, for whatever reason, I didn't care enough. No. It's true, right?
But you devoted a half hour to take it apart and...
Right. Like, I cared enough to fix it, but I didn't care enough to take simple precautions to avoid calamity. Even though I knew for a fact, and I told myself, well, Chris, if you don't do this, you're going to blow the whole thing up. And then like 30 seconds later, go, poof, and like, oh, well, there it is. And you're like, well, what the fuck did you just do, right? And I think that this is a problem I've had like my entire life. Just like whenever I was testing in school or in an interview situation or anything like that. And it's like, well, if you don't do this thing, like you're just going to fail. And then you're like, okay, well, there it is, and it's just like, well, like you cared enough. Why didn't you just do it? And it's just, I don't know if I'm sort of scared of success. Maybe that's I think that's a reality that some people are, right? There's a fear of success. But I mean, if I had seen a way out after that, and I'd be like, oh, wait a second, I've got this particular place right now. Like, I would have done it. Okay, here it is. Now I've got it working, right? Like, so it's not like, I said, I don't have that component. I'm not gonna resolve that right now. Yeah. I'm just putting it in trash. There's just, maybe I just, there's something missing where I don't snatch up the easy stuff. like the low-hanging fruit, I just don't go for it. I think that's the reality. I think that's the thing that's always sort of struck me. Is I never, like with Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Like I had a bunch of them or whatever, right? Like, you know, and like for whatever reason, I just didn't care enough to keep them around.
And they're on a hard drive in the garbage pail somewhere.
Yeah, and I would have had like, well, again, I'm not a hoarder, so or else I would have had, you know, or else I would have had like, you know, millions of dollars. And there's just so many things in life where you're like, well, that would have been easy. Why didn't you do that? And for whatever reason, like I don't, like if an easy path is laid out in front of me, I just don't take it. And there's something like deep sort of psychological about that, how I don't take advantage of it, even if it's a place of competency. I think there's another thing, is that I end up being like, no, I think that's true, like in general. I think that's just generally true. I think that what happens is that maybe I generalize all of those easy paths as the same thing without knowing it. So, for instance, sometimes the easy path is definitely a bad idea, like a diet of fast food, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly easier than eating healthy, right? Or a lifestyle of non-exercise, right? These are all very easy paths that are very adverse to your health. You shouldn't be doing those, right? Or maybe never reading a book and always watching television all day long, or whatever it is, right? And so I maybe it's this kind of Puritan ethic that I've got, where I think, well, if it's easy, then it's probably the wrong thing. and I just have it so deep in my mind that even when things are clearly the right way to go, right?
Yeah.
That I say, well, no, this can't be right. It's easy, and so I just immediately dismiss it's something that is easy as being fundamentally incorrect. And you know that's probably, like, I remember there was I had a physics teacher in college, and he said, and I remember I did pretty poor on a test. I went and talked with him, and he had a long conversation with me. I'll never forget this. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "This is the most peculiar test I've ever seen. That the hardest questions you got right, but the easiest ones you got wrong." And this was the easiest question, and it looked like you did a very complicated solution, and it was not correct. It's like, you're just supposed to give this, and I was like, oh, again, I was just giving that one away. Oh, really? You know, and it didn't occur to me. Like, I thought that, like, you know, like, and so, like only like you and you know the star student got the last one right, but you know the star student got 100 and you got like a 10, you know, and I'm looking, and it's just this like, and it's just this fundamental thing that I'm just still dealing with, that I just don't, I think I just don't believe. Maybe I'm just too sort of too suspicious, you know, of things that might be simple, right? I mean, look at the unemployment thing. It took me a couple of weeks to get on that thing, and I was like, oh no, there's got to be some tricks. And then I did, and I'm like, oh my god, that was so trivial.
Don't do anything.
I had to get $1,000. This is ridiculous, right? It took me like, you know, a good 5 or 6 weeks after all of your goading to get me on that thing, or else I probably still wouldn't. There's probably all these other sort of easy things that I just don't do. Just because maybe it's part of, you know, my Catholic education or something. I don't know. You know, what is that? That was sort of the classic thing. It's like, you know, the Catholics are supposed to be like this self-harming thing, and always sort of like flogging themselves and like living microphone, like living a difficult life. I hope this thing's speaking. Yeah, it's speaking up. And yeah, I think that's part of the issue. I need to get over that. I'm still marred by religion, but aren't we all? Well, let me see if I brought the thing aside.
What is it? Where?
Don't do it away.
Oh, all right.
Oh, here's something else I'm trying to do now. Is I got some decaf coffee I'm drinking in the evening time.
Oh, why do you think the coffee was keeping you up all night?
Well, no, it's just a policy that now if I'm going to be drinking coffee after like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I'm going to do decaf.
Coffee doesn't keep me up, but I am addicted to it. I have to have it, or I get sick. But it doesn't. I could drink it and then go right to sleep.
I understand that, and I know that some people say that, but I also know that doctors and medical people never say that, and and all of our body and our chemistry is the same, and so I think that part of that is just us deceiving ourselves.
But people have like dessert and coffee at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, you just smoke cigarettes. I don't know.
All right.
It was this thing. I got this thing from last time. I also wanted to set a timer this time. Let's see if I can figure out like how far we've been in. Does it tell me? It doesn't really. It just
Well, we can see what time you posted that last.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like that was a problem last time. Is that like I wanted to know how long, because we end up keep talking and then we say, oh gosh, I don't know when we were supposed to stop, because it doesn't really tell you at all. So I don't know. I mean, like,
let's see.
I don't know how.
Maybe it'll say.
I don't think so. I mean, does it say how long I've been in for? It says if you tap on it, I have no idea. See that? No, I don't know.
It's just live.
No. It says. So let's just set it for. Let's just assume that it's been 20 minutes.
Yes.
So let's just set a 40-minute timer. All right. So I was at the. You can turn it off. I was at the Japanese grocery store.
Huh.
And I found some Tokyo-style popcorn. And you can read the flavor if you want to.
Savory and rich. Salted cod roe. So it tastes like sushi?
I think so. I think it has fish inside of it. So it says the ingredients are popcorn, butter, sugar, sesame seeds. I can't eat this thing.
Are you allergic to sesame seeds?
I am allergic to sesame seeds. Cod roe, so I might have 1 or 2, but then sadly you have to eat the rest of it, or else I might just die.
Well, this could be terrible. I might die too. So I didn't know you were allergic to sesame. That means you can't have tahini or anything?
Yeah, I know, it's terrible. I can't have hummus. There's no taste.
No, it tastes like... wow, it has no taste.
Yeah, it's just popcorn.
Kind of a hint of salt.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fish taste.
No, I mean,
there's no smell.
Just stuff that will kill me, that's all it is.
Well, give it a try.
It's too bad now, I can't have rest of it. I was expecting something a little bit more pungent.
Yeah, or there's no smell at all. Mm-hmm. It's like cardboard.
Well, it's the Japanese, even their food's polite. So
there's not that much salt in it. It doesn't have, you can tell it's Japanese because it doesn't say only American substances may contain.
So, let's see. Last week you posted some things on eBay, and we sold one. But I guess the question is, would you like to decrease the price of any of your items?
What sold that book? The Larry Kramer book?
Did not sell.
No, something sold, right? Oh, the
headphones sold.
The headphones sold.
Yeah, we posted a pair of Sennheiser headsets.
What did you get for the?
I gave the money to you. I think it was like 20 something.
Did you?
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
20 something. Yeah, and then I PayPal you your share.
Did you? Let me see.
I don't even remember.
No, I don't. No.
So
you paid me a penny.
Well, so we have the stereo for. Well, oh yeah, you should transfer. So we still have your vintage Sony boombox for $70.
Yeah.
We'd like to lower that one.
Well, because the tape thing doesn't work.
Okay, so
let's. What are the other ones selling for?
You want to knock it down to maybe 60?
Yeah, but let's not go lower than that, because it probably is worth that much.
We'll see. I mean, it's only worth what people are going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So.
But we don't have to,
Right, but like, it's either, if it's either $50 for the trash can.
Yeah.
So.
You sent me 1 cent.
No, I sent you more than that.
Maybe it didn't go to me.
Let me see. Good question.
Who did you send $20 to?
Let me see. Oh, I dropped my phone yesterday, so it's even more fucked up. Look at that.
Oh.
It's even worse.
My last payment into eBay was from you. Money received 1 cent, test penny.
Mm-hmm.
You may have sent it to the wrong person.
Let me see. So.
You might have to disgorge it from wherever you put it.
I don't know if you can. I mean, I'm sure you can, right?
Yeah. Mistakes happen.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. So
it also might have gone into cyberspace.
I don't think so. So I did a lot of stuff, but this would have been right at about right. I didn't send you anything.
Oh, well, then at least it didn't get lost.
This is hold on, calendar. I'll put it on here. I thought I did. Calendar. I remember typing it in. And, so on the 17th, right?
Today is the
Because
21st.
$21. Then.
What did you get for it? $21?
Huh. It's crazy. It's absolutely true. So yeah, it's 21.
But
and then
what did the postage cost?
Yeah,
and you take that.
I'll do it all.
Yeah.
Let me do the math again.
So I should get a good $6 out of this.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's well, let me find it out for real. So it was selling, and then sorry, this is I just give it to you in cash right now.
No, don't worry about it. Let's.
What?
We can go on with this and worry about it later.
Well, no, I'll forget about it.
You could just PayPal me then.
Well, I tried to the last time and I forgot about it.
Well, it'll work this time.
Okay, well, we continue talking.
Right.
So let's see. So
the killer of the president, that guy was a genius.
Wasn't that crazy?
That was the murderer of
James Garfield.
James Garfield. He was so. What was fascinating about that story that you
I sold it for $14.
texted me? Oh, sold it for $14.
14, yeah.
Oh. What was fascinating about that was more than how clearly this guy was insane from the day he was born to the day he was hanged, was how casually...
You got to back up and set the scene for that.
Oh, well, the
So hold on. Let's back up. And so 4 presidents died by assassination. If you ask most Americans, they'd probably say 2, right? They'd probably say Kennedy and Lincoln. But you also have William McKinley and James Garfield,
right,
which a lot of people don't talk about. And so James Garfield would be a really good story. And so I sent him that. So I read the biography on his assassin, who is a very colorful character.
He was clearly insane in the most kind of like homeless people you see on the street getting messages from space. But he was clearly insane from the day he was born to the day he died, yet he seemed to be able to go about his business and make speeches that people would listen to, and marry 2 women who knows what these women were, and buy a gun and get close to the president, who at that time seemed to just be wandering the streets of Washington. He was, when he finally caught him, he was walking his wife to the train station. There was no security. There was nothing like that. And of course, then after he... Oh, you're going to give me cash?
Yeah.
All right, thanks. And when... and when he shot... What?
More useful than headphones, right?
Yeah. When he shot the... When he got shot... When Garfield got shot, it was not a serious wound, but because it was pre-doctors sterilizing equipment,
about
washing
5
their hands.
years or something.
Yeah, a really close time before, and doctors realized, if we scrub up and we sterilize equipment, there'll be no infection. So they used to wash after the operation when they had blood all over.
There's an argument that if the doctor did nothing, he might have survived.
He would have lived. Yeah. And so of course they, probed to remove the bullet. They used their dirty hands. They used some dirty tools, and that caused an infection, which is ultimately what killed him a few weeks later. The infection, not the bullet. But this guy. Do you remember that sort of novelty song in the '60s from Napoleon the 14th? They're coming to take me away. They're coming
to take me away. Ho ho.
Yeah.
And like it's the funny farm, and I'm reading the biography of this guy. And he sounds like that character.
He was, and
what was that quote that I said? That I want to go get it because it was so well done.
I mean, yeah.
He basically in court he did his own defense like in poetry.
Yeah.
And
you
then
quoted from it here.
But there's even more to it. While being led to his execution, I don't know how to say his name. Goutet?
He notoriously danced his way to the gallows and shook hands with his executioner.
Correct.
On the scaffold, as his last request, he recited a poem called "I'm Going to the Lordy," which he had written during his incarceration.
Correct. And he had originally requested an orchestra to play as he sang his poem, but this request was denied.
And he wrote an autobiography, and he wrote speeches that he gave. They're unclear in this whether anyone showed up for the speeches, but he seemed to draw crowds.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but I sent you that part right there that said, he dictated an autobiography in New York, and ending it with a personal ad for a nice Christian lady under 30 years of age.
That's right. He still thought he was going to find a third
He was oblivious to the American public hatred of him, even after he was almost assassinated twice himself. He frequently smiled and waved at spectators and reporters in and out of the courtroom. And
he thought he was the hero because he had put Chester Arthur in
gone.
And yet wandered the streets.
And so I was trying to find out like a little bit more about the group that he was in. So at that point, our politics were way different than they were back then because they were for different things. But the Republican Party of the 1880s was split into these 2 camps. And Garfield was in one of them. And Arthur was in another one.
His own vice president was in a different faction of the
different faction of the party.
Yeah.
And the kind of faction that he was in was kind of this like free soil populist kind of thing, basically like the modern wackos. And so I'm envisioning him as like a prototype of the modern sort of nut job.
The QAnons.
Right? And it makes so much sense now that you have this guy. And, he's totally oblivious to the world around him, that, like, no connection to reality.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's the other thing, is that when he was picking out a gun to shoot Garfield with, he picked out one that he thought would look nice in a museum.
Yeah, that's right. Because he was planning on... And then, of course, they lost it.
Well, that was so funny.
The police lost the gun.
No, that's not right. Is that Smithsonian...
Oh, the Smithsonian
got
lost
it.
the gun.
They took some photographs of it, but then they eventually lost the gun.
Yeah, the Smithsonian
amongst their collection.
Yeah. So they don't know which one it was. It's the really nice one that he picked out that looked good in the museum.
I think that so there was a Broadway play called Assassins.
Assassins, yes, Sondheim.
That had him in there.
Sondheim.
And I listened to the song, and I don't think it was like sort of classic Broadway, but it wasn't very good. I think that there's some opportunities here too.
Didn't capture the real guy.
Well, no, I mean, Sondheim just sounds like when people talk about musicals, they talk about musicals being like really, really gay, and like this kind of like just flamboyantly, like repugnantly.
But that's not what Sondheim does.
But that's what it sounded like, I was like,
oh, that's not his usual music.
It just does. It's just flamboyant.
Oh.
And like there's nothing entertaining about it. It's just like all these like woo. And you're like,
Sondheim doesn't usually write like that.
Well, yeah, but
Sweeney Todd or Little Night Music.
The song was, and it wasn't very entertaining either. So I think that there's an opportunity to. I like how you're still keeping on broken pair of glasses.
You never know when you need them.
Throw them in the trash can. These are $2.
They're $1.
Why do you still have them?
I just left them there because that's the pair that usually falls off there that I'm looking on the phone and then I step on it.
So yeah, I think there's an opportunity to maybe do something upon him. But I think that you'd have to take it another level. You'd have to make him as the hero. Then you'd have to make Garfield like some kind of evil maniacal person. And then make it look like that he was genuinely like some kind of
trying to push Chester Arthur into
as a noble thing.
Yeah.
As like some kind of a way that he saved the Republic as a true American. I think that would be just absurd. But I don't know if those kinds of comedies work these days because there's so many crazies out there
that people are in office
that people wouldn't know that you are being ridiculous.
Yeah. There's people in national office that are that crazy.
There's no sort of political position that you can make where people would be like, haha, that's funny.
No one would ever,
Like, nobody would ever believe, like there's nothing that, I could say something like, we should have chimpanzees running the White House, and people would be like, oh, that's interesting.
No, it's not bad.
I'm thinking about that. Maybe we should. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like we should I don't know bring back I don't know somebody from the dead.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about like Hitler or some politician like that. I'm talking about like
Lincoln.
No, not even that. I'm talking. For me, it'd be something like, we should bring back a Walter Cronkite. There's somebody like not even related at all to politics. And you'd be like, oh yeah, it's part of the Walter Cronkite Bring Back from the Dead party. Okay, we're friends in that one. And there's just nothing there. Let's see. I did some more sales on eBay. That was okay. I'm up to 4,400.
Wow, and you were only going for 1,000 at one point.
Yeah, I could probably make 6, I think now.
And you still have a lot of stuff to sell?
I mean, I do. I think that I need to eventually put it into the just 3 categories or so, like the sellable, the trash, like stuff I can't sell, and stuff I want to keep, right? And I haven't done that yet, but I think that's the next step, right? Is to generally do that. I probably have about another $1,500 or $2,000 left for stuff.
Yeah, maybe you'll hit 6,000.
Yeah, which is it'd be nice to finally have a lot.
Yeah,
far for the things.
And get rid of all your stuff.
I've been reading a book. The one that I'm reading recently, which is the early history of the internet, the first 20 years or whatever.
Yeah,
it's really good. I mean, it has a lot of. This is called "Where Wizards Stay Up Late." I think the origin story of the internet, and I think that there was maybe a second publishing of it, but I have first press like '96 or so.
So afterwards you'll sell it on eBay.
And no, that's where I got it. It's of no value. And there are some technical parts to it, but the human stories are really great. There's this one thing about it. They're talking about this thing called the IMP or whatever it is, and it's this tiny sort of, for the time, tiny. It was a single refrigerator. This is back when a computer was an entire building, right? Yeah. And so it's just a mere refrigerator. And what it would do, it would be hooked up to any computer, they were all different from each other, right? They weren't compatible. They didn't know how to talk to each other. There's no way. And what it would do is it would take in the language of that computer and then put it out over a computer network, the first ones, right? Yeah. And so the computers could talk to each other. And by translating it through this refrigerator site, it's like a networking card, or whatever. And it was all done by this company out of Cambridge, who basically sort of proposed that this would work. And like AT&T was like, no, it'll never work. Yeah. And there are all these people that are doubting it, and crossed hands, like, I don't believe you. Like what would you want to connect two computers for together? What would you ever do with that? And all these people were like, the story was going along, and I think I sent it to you. The best part about it is that there was this phone on the end of the computer called the butler bell, and it looked very formal, like a Mr. Belvedere phone. And basically, if they were unable to contact or do anything with that machine, then they could ring the butler bell from Cambridge in Massachusetts, and then just hope that somebody picked up. Oh. And then give them instructions on how to reset the machine or do that stuff over the phone. And they would do it, and just random people would pick up. Sometimes janitors, right? And they would work with the janitors, right? Mm. So I was thinking, you could turn this into a movie if you want, and that could be like an opening scene. You have in the '60s, and this janitor's vacuuming the floor, and then he hears a telephone, rings, right? And then he says, he thinks it's a prank or something, and he's like, I've never touched a computer before, I don't know how to operate these things. And he thinks like, wait till I tell my wife that I used a computer today, right? And these kinds of things were if you just sort of think about it from the time, very few people ever touch these things, and it's just I was reading this one part today, which was really interesting. It was the first sort of, as the first business person ever really used email, and so this was a guy that worked for the government. Under ARPANET, which was the organization that built the thing. And he was not technical, but he worked within the group itself. And basically he said, this was it, he said, he's a frequent flyer, and he seldom boarded a plane without lugging his 30-pound portable Texas Instrument terminal with an acoustic coupler, which basically you could take a telephone and put it on top of it, right?
The early modems.
Right. And so he could dial in and check his messages from the road. So he could check his email, right? That was it. And he said, and they said, I'd be at a meeting, and every hour I would dial up my email. I encourage everybody in sight to use it. And he pushed in all his office directors, and they pushed in others, and basically this was the first business traveler with a phone. And I can imagine
checking with a smartphone, except it weighed 30 pounds. And
that he has
a hand truck.
Yeah, it's a wheel cart of this giant computer terminal, 30 pounds.
And he would take it to a phone booth and put the phone in and check his email.
And he's taking it on an airplane in the 70s, and they're like, does that man have a computer? What's taking a computer onto an airplane for? And all of the, and there's a bunch of those types of stories in here, like how when they did the first in computer, did it at UCLA, but it turns out they can put it in the elevator, so they had to dismantle it.
Because it's too big?
It's too big, right? It was too big to fit inside, so they had to dismantle the parts and reassemble it. And it's full of these sort of wonderful little stories, and I think that it would just make a great movie of and has a conflict, has a drama in there, but I don't think it's been done.
No, I don't remember anything like that.
Right, and I think that it can be done in a way that's completely non-technical. Because you don't have to know anything about computers to find somebody wheeling a giant sort of refrigerator thing onto an airplane so they can check his
that's funny.
Exactly. Or calling up a janitor who's never touched a computer to feed tape in and do all these things and try to get the machine back up and running. All these things are genuinely hilarious. It's just that nobody's really done it. What kind of scripts are you working on?
I'm doing a Christmas one, and I just did one for about a princess.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that's sold actually, or would go into production if we were in production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's probably a lot of funny historical stories. The more stuff that I've been reading, especially history stuff, the more I realize, hey, these are some pretty darn good stories that nobody's ever told before. The Leyden jars. I told you about that.
That's right.
How back in the 1700s when they first discovered electricity, it was a brand new sensation and nobody had ever seen it before, and so people would shock each other for entertainment. And they would go around like P.T. Barnum, and then have people step right up to feel electricity. And
be electrocuted.
Yeah. And there were a bunch of books on amusing things tricks that you could pull by hiding wires underneath rugs and linking them up to doors and stuff too. And everybody would be laughing at somebody as they shock themselves. And they didn't realize there was immense medical problems.
Danger.
There's immense danger, and you can kill people with this stuff.
If they did, was there any documented case where someone as a joke said, here, touch this, and then they died? Or maybe there was and they didn't blame it on electricity, knowing that they...
So there's a guy named Abin Nollet, who's a French doctor and a chemist, who tried talking to a bunch of animals to see what the thing is. You shock various sized cats and birds and stuff. And these very funny depictions of him, of basically sitting on a table and just sort of pondering these cages of animals down here.
As they all died.
Who am I going to what am I going to electrocute next? And they'd shock them, and then to a point that they wouldn't kill them. And then try to have another one that he didn't shock and see if their diets were the same or whatever it is, right? He was trying to genuinely find out what electricity was, because nobody understood it, right? But I think there was an acknowledgement that you could probably kill somebody with it, but they didn't seem to care. I haven't found anybody that said, in my reading so far,
that said,
I'm
worried about this.
Well, no. I found a lot of people that said, there was this one where they do some experiments, and in order to test the line, they have people hold onto the wires,
yes.
See them do that kind of
what
stuff.
They can do.
But in the scientific literature, they would refer to them as men, unnamed.
Oh.
Now, if it was an esteemed professor or colleague, they would name the person.
Yeah. So they had tests.
So they knew what it felt like.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be volunteers, and they decided to go into town and hire somebody in order to do it.
They had some stooges.
Yeah. So in order to avoid the pain.
Yeah.
So it's not that they didn't care enough that they do it. They wanted to avoid it, but they didn't think that it was genuinely going to kill you. Right? They think that you're okay at the end. I don't know. You know that sesame that I ate? I'm having an allergic reaction right now.
Oh, really? What's
I'm itching.
I
actually go. Do you have Benadryl?
I might have some. Do you want to? It's been 45 minutes.
No, it hasn't been.
Yes.
This is 11:42.
We started. It's 8:42. We started at 8.
We did?
Yeah.
Let me see what it says. Yeah. I have something in my car, so let me go there real quick. If I'm organized at all, of course, to be in here.
Your rescue kit.
Yeah. Oh, they're there. Do you have any?
I have stuff like that. I think. Let's see.
Any antihistamines? I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
That's good. Fantastic. Thank you. Whatever. That's fine.
You want to take these in case you...
No, that's fine. I wasn't. I was in London, and I actually accidentally had some sesame, and I needed to do something, which was kind of use their pharmacy system at least.
Yeah.
And over there, they don't call it a pharmacist; they call it a chemist.
Oh, the chemist.
The chemist. Let me close. You want to close the door? Sure. And so normally over here, what you would do is you would go, you'd get the Benadryl or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go up to and you pay and you leave, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. But over there, they want to be much more involved, and so they're like, so first of all, it's like this professional woman came over,
yeah.
which I thought that she just worked at the store, but after about 30 seconds, I realized, like, oh, this person's like gone for medical training. Like, this is like a legit sort of.
I thought you were going to go the other way. After about 30 seconds, I realized she was just a knock that came over.
No, she was like, like legit.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, what are your symptoms? Blah 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 blah. Like, what did you take on it? And then she's like, well, if you have to give it some time, and if it doesn't work, maybe you should go to the emergency room. And then I was thinking to myself, like, emergency room? Oh, that's right. In America, that would cost $3,000, but over here, that's free.
It's like going to the police department to the
exactly.
fire department.
Like it's just something that you would do. Like, you just walk right in, and you wouldn't get bills for thousands of dollars. And then I was like, well, won't you just sell this to me? He's like, well, no, not if it's not right for you.
No.
And I was like,
Wow, yeah, they'll say anything if
What?
it's over the counter.
And it's like, well, what if I promise that I won't have it unless I need it? And she's like, well, okay, if you promise that, like I had to have this like conversation with her to like assure her that I was going to use it responsibly before she.
Even though it was over the counter, it was just Benadryl or.
It wasn't even over the counter because it was more like I wasn't able to pick it. It was more of a kind of. It was there, and I would have to talk with her first before taking it. Right. I couldn't just grab it and
just stuff behind the counter. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. Like I could see it, cause I could like read it or something. But I don't think there was anything in the box. I think that was it.
Yeah.
I think it was an empty box.
Display.
It was a display box, right? And I'd say, yeah, this is what I want, because I remember she went back and got one for me.
No.
And so, it was like this happened to me in Barcelona too, which is very interesting, because there I went and then in Spanish I had to explain the conditions that I had.
Yeah.
And basically it was even more restrictive, is that I talked to a guy behind glass who was a chemist, and then
apothecary.
Yes, basically. And I forget exactly what I said, but it was all in Spanish. And then and then he opened up a drawer, and then he got the stuff out. Here you are, and then I paid for it and I left.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like it was, everything was a conversation. There was no. You couldn't even look at
it. Back of the box. Yeah.
And not only that, but there was no competition of different brands or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that it was all like run by the government or whatever, right?
Which it should be. Yeah.
Right, and so it was just like an affordable price. And I remember I think that the entire box was like €5 or something. It was totally legit. You know? And it totally worked. And even in the UK, I think the box was like, again, like I would like two or $3. Like it was super cheap.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that's why I still have it here.
Oh, you still have the Brazilian?
The British one.
Oh.
Because like I only need to take it like once every 6 months or so. Yeah.
Has it kicked in?
And it takes about a half an hour to an hour. And it wasn't that severe because I did. I didn't.
Yeah.
And I usually check. I shouldn't think that popcorn has sesame seeds in it. It just sounds a little
You did read it before you ate it.
Oh, yeah.
You did know it before you ate it.
I always need to check because people don't disclose that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. Let's see. What else has happened recently? I don't know. I think that. I did have a number of people sort of state that they wanted to do this, but nobody's actually come through.
Join us or sit in for vacationing me. Join us.
I think.
Let's see who we have now.
I think it's more like what you just said. Oh, and something else that so this last week or the last thing we did was I hadn't made social media, and I didn't put any of the apps back in my phone. So I'm not using any of the apps right now, which has definitely decreased my usage because I don't think that's a good use of time.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Well, but no, what I was going to say is that it was more of an interview style. Like I wanted to just sort of talk to some people and sort of more in depth about just about things in life.
Did we have one guy here once that we talked to?
The first episode.
It was a dream I had.
No, the first. Oh, here as an interview.
Yeah. We never did that. No, I guess we didn't.
No, not even when we were doing the audio podcast. No.
Yeah.
No. You mentioned it at one episode, and I asked. I didn't know whether it was legitimate or not. Maybe you're expecting to have somebody come over?
Oh, maybe that was it, and we thought maybe we'll put him on.
Yeah, but I don't think the person ever came.
No, maybe, that's right. Maybe he never showed up.
Yeah, I think the person...
Like you.
Yeah, everybody flakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't have anyone in mind.
There's a show I've been wanting to make called the LA Flakers.
Yeah, right.
just swear around. We have a band called the LA Flippers. We never show up for the gig.
It's right there.
Yeah.
It's up in the third quarter.
I don't know. It's because I think there's like some in-depth conversations to have with some people.